So we've gone through the whole process. We've got a product that's strong, looks good, and it's functional. But what we don't know is it noisy? And every single person who ever drives a vehicle with a roof rack will tell you the most important thing is a quiet roof rack. If a roof rack's noisy, it'll drive you insane. So we take it very seriously to get in this car, go for a drive and make sure it's quiet. That's where we draw on our 40 years of experience to change the wind deflector, to change things, to get it right, to get it quiet, to get it as good as we possibly can. So the reason we use a sound meter to check whether this is louder or quieter is we like to put a number on it, so our trained ears can tell us that this car is quiet or it is noisy. We know what a noisy roof rack is, we know what a quiet roof rack is. But it's always good to get the number. In our experience, sometimes we've actually seen cars get quieter with the roof rack because of the way it changes the aerodynamics over the roof. So it's just interesting more than anything for us to know the exact number. And most cars will come up a couple of decibels, but not enough to detect with your own ear. If we come up a lot, we can see how much, and that's always interesting for us.
So the general baseline for most vehicles is around 55 decibels. Some will be a little bit noisier, some will be quieter. And even on some vehicles, tyre noise or engine noise can actually exceed what the roof rack would ever do. So our aim is to get it so there's not that there's no audible difference, but that the difference before and after the roof rack is not enough to cause issues, as in irritation. So we like to test at 60 and we test at 80. Obviously, given the shape of what you're putting on your roof, it's not possible to make it silent. Some cases we get lucky, but mostly you can hear something. It's about limiting it, and the difference between a rack that's been designed properly and that's quiet and one that hasn't and it's noisy is astounding. So to ensure consistent results, we always do the test on the same road. So now I'm going to do the 60 km/h test. At 60 kilometres, I've got 59 decibels in the cabin. And at 80 kilometres, I've got 63.5 decibels. I would consider that to be perhaps a little more than I would like. Generally speaking, we like to aim for that 2 to 3 decibel increase, which is barely detectable by the human ear. At 64, there's enough of a ruffle that I'd expect at around 110 kilometres, it may be irritating. So what we need to do now is we need to take this vehicle back to the workshop, have a look at the pitch of the wind deflector and see if we can adjust that to decrease the noise.
So we've had a little bit of feedback from those we've already shown the product to in the market. They've reviewed the instructions and there was a common theme coming back from the fitters. This step here, step 9, doesn't make it clear where the platform actually sits on the roof. I think there's a mention in here as to a scallop and piece of rubber. Just the general consensus was 2 points. Does every clip have a rivet and collet? So all 3, or is it just the front and rear? And the second point was, can we clarify exactly where the rack sits on the roof, perhaps with a measurement from the windscreen? And they said those instructions would be good with that extra little piece in it.
There is a little relief in the rail, so I'll get you to show that. Like at the back there's a step in the rail and then there's that plastic strip. So that step lines up with the end of the plastic strip. So if they put it there, and yes, 3 rivets per
So a rivet
side.
in every clip.
Yeah, so we'll just update.
So we found on our last test drive that it was a little noisier than we'd hoped. So it was about 5, 6, maybe even 7 decibels over what it was without a roof rack. That's not really acceptable for us. We'll find that we'll get complaints from customers that it's too noisy at that rate. And it also depends on the pitch of the noise too. In this case, it was quite a whistling noise. Now, whistling normally indicates a small gap, whereas thudding or pounding, like as if your window's down, generally tells you that high pressure air is forcing under the roof rack and causing the roof skin to oil can. And what we do in that case is we just divert the wind away from the roof skin, which is what a wind deflector does. However, in this case we had a whistle, which is a little unusual because you normally get a whistle from a small gap like a bottle top. So we got back to the factory and we inspected it, and we found that the light bar that we'd fitted to it was causing the whistle. So we adjusted the light bar, we did some adjustments to the light bar, we removed it, went for a drive, problem gone. We were back within to our 3 to 4 decibel target range, which is quite normal for a roof rack, and frankly hardly audible to your ear. A little bit of soft music and you'd never notice it. So we've gone back, we've done the adjustments to the light bar, and we're running this second test at 60 and 80, and signs are promising. We're at about that 59, 60 decibels, which is your 3 to 4 decibels over what we were before. Obviously, it can be hard to test down to 1 and 2 decibels because you only have to accelerate and have some engine noise and it'll overcome your meter here. So a lot of it does rely on experience and what we hear and whether that what we'd consider normal or good or bad. Like I say, if you get a roof rack that's bad in terms of wind noise, as they often say, you can't hear yourself think. It will get inside your head and give you a headache. So as you can see, under heavy acceleration, this vehicle's nearly 70 decibels. So we're at 60 at a nice coast at 60 or 80. I think that's a very good result. So this track is ready to go. Good to go see the market.
As you can see at Wedgetail Rack, the design process is no small feat. We put a lot of effort into making sure our finished product is reliable, strong and quiet. If we can't get a product right, it doesn't go to market. We just can't afford the risk to our brand. So our brand, we stand behind our product, it needs to be right. From a design perspective, we're ready to release it to our sales department. They'll take it out to the market and hopefully it ends up on your vehicle. If you've got some questions about it, I know it says ask me, but go to our website, wedgetailrack.com.au, and from there you can talk to one of our resellers or you can reach out directly and we'll help you with any questions you might have.